The Supreme Court decision to side with Hobby Lobby over religious objections to some birth control coverage could have implications for many other companies. So we're going to talk with a legal expert about what this ruling means when we come back.
The U.S. Supreme Court says some companies do not have to provide birth control coverage under Obamacare if providing it conflicts with their religious beliefs. Owners of Hobby Lobby and a Pennsylvania furniture company challenge part of the health care law. They believe some forms of contraception are, in fact, abortion. That's the crux of the case. Dallas Appellate Lawyer Chad Ruback here to explain what it means. Now, Justice Ginsburg, in her stinging dissent that she was so angry she read it from the bench, says this is opening a floodgate people to exempt, or companies to exempt themselves from the Affordable Care Act.
A slippery slope certainly is a concern. My thinking is there's not going to be floodwaters coming out anytime soon.
Right. It's going to be a little bit difficult to exempt yourself from the provisions of the Affordable Care Act.
That's not going to stop lawyers from trying.
Right, right. If you look at two key words that we have to consider, though, that any court's going to have to consider, it's closely held company and deeply held religious beliefs. Talk about both of those for me.
Okay, as for closely held, courts have struggled with exactly what that means. It's kind of like an assault rifle. Everyone knows one when they see it, but enunciating exactly what that is tough. So I see litigation there. I also see litigation with the other issue, sincerely held religious beliefs. Well, how do you determine what a sincerely held religious belief is?
Right. And would it be possible that some other people, for some other deeply held religious reasons, might object to other parts of the health care law and opt out of those portions under this decision?
They're sure going to try, and I think that's what Justice Ginsburg was most concerned about.
So the concern is that people will use it just as an excuse not to spend money, and to get around the requirements of the law. Maybe not for deeply held reasons, just to save a couple of bucks.
That's a huge concern. In America, we like saving money.
Yeah. Would you call this, I mean, this was a highly anticipated decision. How would you judge the way it was written? Because a lot of people look at the wording. It was a lengthy decision. It took you some time to digest it.
It did, in fact. I saw the opinion come down, and within 60 seconds, I saw people tweeting about it. I saw people blogging about it. It took me an hour and a half to read the thing. How could people have an opinion about it so quickly? A lot of thought went into writing it. There are a lot of nuances in it. I'm still digesting it myself.
Well, it becomes very complicated because it also involves things like medical opinion. Does this particular form of contraception, in fact, induce abortion? And the medical community is divided on that.
The religious community probably is as well.
Yeah. Do you see, again, foresee companies trying to use this closely held wording to broaden the meaning of what was a pretty narrow decision?
Absolutely. The decision was in fact narrow because it only applies to closely held companies of over 50 employees. There are just not that many of them. I'd be hard pressed to name more than the two that were named in the Supreme Court opinion.
And yet by some estimates about 1/3 of employees in this country are exempt for one reason or another from the Affordable Care Act, which promised, and that, you know, this is not a legal issue, it's a political one. The Affordable Care Act promised coverage to all Americans. About 1/3 of people, one way or another, are exempt from it.
Any employee working for a company of less than 50 employees is exempt.
Yeah.
Any employee working for a laundry list of nonprofits is exempt. I mean, the exemptions are swallowing the rule in the act itself before the court even got involved.
Right. Thanks very much. We appreciate your input on this, and look forward to see what happens next, because you know the lawyers will be out there trying to take advantage of it. Well, that's your job.